Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Dragonforge After Dark, Kesh here with Teacher Mikey and the Mr. Doctor. And we are here to present our first faction focus, which is the Death Guard. And if you notice, Mr. Doctor is joining us today just for a little while since we did promise that we will be singing a song in this episode. So, yes, we will be singing that song that we promised before. But first of all, we want to ask you to like and subscribe, of course, to all of our social media on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, on Instagram, on Twitter. Do we have Twitter? We have Twitter,
We
right?
do have Twitter. We do.
We have
Okay,
Twitter.
okay.
We have
We have
Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't Twitter, so like yes, we have Twitter. All right. So this is our song. This is the Taliman sung to the song of the sea shanty, the Wellerman.
Mhm.
And this was
Yeah.
composed by Kesh.
Yes. Um, the inspiration for this song came from GG in the group chat before when Mikey was talking about the Taliman. He just suddenly like went out like, "Soon may the Taliman come." So I made like the full song from that thing. All right. So I guess we'll sing it like once at the start and once at the end, so the people who missed out on the start can also get in on it. So, guys, let's 1, 2, 3, go. There once was a
Once
ship
was a
that
ship that went
to
to
suspense the
suspense.
name
The name of the ship
was
the
was
terminus.
Terminus.
Yes.
Okay,
Warp
wait, guys.
blew up.
I
Blew
think
up.
I think like we're all delayed.
We're all delayed.
Yeah. All right. So um to fix
It
this,
doesn't work
and
the
since
same.
we can't all sing it at the same time, Mr. Doctor sing first, then I'll take the no, wait, I'll sing first. Mr. Doctor take the first chorus, Mikey take the second chorus.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. One, two,
Again,
three,
again,
go.
again.
There once was a ship that went to space. The name of the ship was the Terminus S. The warp blew up her bow, dipped down. Oh, blow, my plaguey boys, blow.
Soon may the Taliman come to bring us dengue and flu and pox. One day when the COVID is done, we'll take our figs and play.
Soon may the Taliban come to bring us dengue and flu and pox. One day when the COVID is done, we'll take our figs and play. Did we lose any viewers?
I think
We lost
did.
two.
We lost viewers.
We lost
Okay.
three.
We lost.
You
Okay.
bastards!
Okay.
You
Okay, we're done singing. Please come back. Please watch again.
Yeah.
We're done singing.
Okay, we'll never sing again.
we're not
We're
singing,
sorry.
we're not
We're
singing anymore.
sorry.
We will never
Please
sing
forget-
again. Wow, we actually
I'll
lost viewers.
never
This song.
sing again.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let's never do that again. Okay,
That's
so
not-
learnings for today is that when we stream, like each of us have their own delay, so we can't actually sing together. We'll have if we want to sing together, we have to do it as a video. Ha.
Yep.
Okay.
And singing
That-
makes us lose views. Great.
And yeah, singing makes us lose views. So let's never sing again unless like
Never again.
people manage to get us to like 100 subs or something. All right. So if you want to hear us sing again, either get us to 100 subs or join our OnlyFans,
Oh my.
our Patreon, and okay,
Oh,
okay.
you see that? The
So
moment you said we have an OnlyFans, the number
We
of
got the
viewers
viewer, yes.
increased. Yeah, we got another viewer. Okay, see it. So we'll make
okay,
it happen.
so we
We'll
know
make it happen.
OnlyFans, yes.
Yeah. Expect an OnlyFans where I wear a tank top every time.
We should order tank tops.
Yeah,
I just-
we should all wear tank
Like
tops.
Dragon Forge tank tops. That can be
Yeah.
done. That can be done. Like we'll
Yeah.
need to work out a bit, but yeah. Let's get to
Please
the actual
comment.
content.
Please put that in the comments. If you want us to be all in tank tops for the next episode, help us please like and share our video. Get us
Yeah,
to
we
10
gotta get
views.
buff though. All right. So
All
Mr.
by yours.
Doctor,
I'll be
thank you
going
for
ahead.
thine presence.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Doctor. Goodbye.
All right. So tonight on Faction Focus Friday, yes, we'll be talking about the Death Guard. So we'll talk about what the Death Guard is. Just give you some background information on it. How can you get started fast? How can you scale up? And we'll be discussing it both for Kill Team and for Warhammer 40k. We can't do Fire Team yet because the rules only came out like a few minutes ago. So
Yeah, what even is
yeah,
Fire Team?
yeah, we'll tackle that another time. So when we've had like sufficient time to prepare.
Gotta
So
revise
teacher
our
Mikey,
skirmish.
take
Yeah.
it from here, I guess.
Okay,
Just
so
say ka-chow when you want the slide to change.
sure. So tonight on Faction Focus Friday, we talk about the Death Guard. Now what you can expect whenever we do the Faction Focus videos, it's gonna be in this format where we talk about all the time. Again, this is meant for you non-war gamers. For those who are just beginning to explore this wonderful hobby of miniature wargaming. This video is for you. But what if you're already a war gamer? Well, this can also be for you. You might want this faction to be your entry point into the wonderful, wonderful universe of Warhammer 40,000. It's a very happy
It's
place.
not a wonderful universe.
It's a very happy place. And so we'll always talk about whether you want to do it in big army or on skirmish combat, and whether this faction is for you or not. And then we'll take you through the basics of their rules and how you can get started with simple purchases and how to scale up eventually. Pachow, let's see the slide. Okay, so as promised, we're always going to pose this question to you, no? Because truth be told, these factions operate differently on a big table and a small table. Actually, doesn't have to be a table. Skirmish combat can even play on the kitchen counter, as advertised in the recent Fire Team announcement. No? So let's get to it. So both versions of the game are set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe in a future where there's only war. No? And the mothership game would be Warhammer 40,000. So you're gonna see the pros and the cons. The pros for Warhammer
Teacher
40,000.
Mikey,
Yeah.
did you copy paste the thing and forgot to actually put the kill team pros and cons?
Well, it's not exactly pros and cons. This is like the I'm not gonna. Okay, to be fair, I'm not. There are some cons that might not actually be cons, and you'll see it here in the descriptions.
Yeah,
So,
which you copy pasted. I forgot to put the
oh
actual
right,
kill team one.
oh okay, I forgot to edit that. It's fine. You know what? We're gonna talk about it anyway. Okay, we're gonna talk
Right,
about
don't do
what happened
drugs,
there.
kids. Don't do
Yeah,
drugs.
don't do drugs, kids. Okay, so for Warhammer 40,000, we're just gonna go over it very quickly now. So for Warhammer, so apologies for the snafu. We're gonna fix this in future installments. So for Warhammer 40,000, big army with lots of models, and it's all about creating a spectacle. You want big armies on the board, and you'll see it later in the photographs. You want the diorama set piece. It really looks nice. It really looks nice when you see it on the tables played out. And the now this could be a pro or a con to you. It's a huge investment. The assembly time that it takes is a long time. It takes a long time to assemble all of those models. You're looking at anywhere between 50 to 150 models. Maybe even 200 in some factions. But Death Guard is not that kind of faction where you need to paint hundreds and hundreds of models. The other thing is playing time. Some people like long games, some people like short games. The shortest game of Warhammer 40,000 would last you about an hour and a half. That's Combat Patrol. We're going to talk about the different formats later. And then now it's not necessarily expensive. Your mileage may vary because so sorry. It's somehow I was able. I deleted the actual slide where this was fixed. But for Warhammer Kill Team, squad-based battle, so you're looking for Death Guard. You're looking at 5 to 11 models at a time. It is still a spectacle, but it's more zoomed in, where the action really happens. No, as they say in war, big giant battles are won through the sacrifices of a few men. No, in there. So wow, take that for what that means. So very dramatic. No, there can be diorama set pieces definitely, but you won't be able to see the scale. You're you'll be zooming in quite literally, no? And you'll see that in the photos as well. It's a huge, it is actually still kind of a huge investment, but in a different way. You're looking at you're looking at few again, 5 to 11 models. You can take as much time as you want painting them, but it is still also a big investment because, um, just for perspective, the Kill Team Mortarion box plus the compendium is the same price as combined. Is the same price as 2 combat patrols. Okay, so your mileage may vary when it comes to
Yeah, that's if you
cost.
want to get with like the big box. We'll be presenting you options to actually start this cheaper later
Yeah,
in the buyer's guide.
definitely. Okay, let's
Yeah,
pachow and leave
ciao
this
to
snafu
ciao.
behind.
Right.
Right. So who are
Yeah,
the
we
Death
forgot
Guard?
to delete the slide.
See
It's
how
okay. We're
indie they are.
sticking with it.
Yeah. So this is the indie magic of beginning YouTubers. Okay,
Right.
so
So
who
who
are the
yeah,
Death
or
Guard?
Death Guard.
Why did we choose this photo?
All right. So why play the Death Guard? You play the Death Guard if you want to be like Winnie the Flu over here and spread the wonders of the plague throughout the world. Yeah.
And we'll
Yeah,
show you.
we're gonna
So
get like
yeah. So
fucked over by the Chinese
yeah
bots.
let's patrol the photos and
Yeah.
see what they represent.
Yeah, there's the actual Death
There.
Guard.
That's the actual
Yes,
Death Guard
yes.
spreading the disease, or what they call Nurgle's gift. These are a bunch of Space Marines. The honorable Space Marines who are the protectors of humanity, but corrupted by filth and disease. Because from the chaos god of life and death, sickness and health, Nurgle. Okay, and their shtick is basically they're kind of like zombies, but they can still think. They're very smart. They're very strong. They spread
They're very
disease,
slow.
and they're very slow. So let's push out to the next. Let's look at more imagery. So again, more Death Guard and
Yeah.
Ultramarines.
These are the Death Guard like fucking over like the Ultramarines who nobody likes. So we all know who everyone's rooting for here.
Yeah, Pachao. And we know who everybody's rooting for over here because people hate the Tao.
Yep. Yeah.
But these also happen to be my two armies in Big 40K and in Kill Team. So
Yeah.
you see a lot more imagery here with people getting Tau soldiers getting infected, giant. Those are actually machines. The things that you see that are flying. Those are actually so they're called demon engines. They go around flying or rumbling on the ground, spreading disease and doing all sorts of nasty stuff.
Yes.
Pachow. Yeah. So building painting the Death Guard, these models are mine. What I like about the Death Guard is that they're not so hard to paint. Again, your mileage may vary because as you'll see on the models, there's just a lot of opportunities to be detailed. You can be very messy with them. I think I was a little messy here. It might not be obvious, but this is my idea of messy. And I really took my time in filling in the details with the gore, the exposed parts of the flesh. So if you're into that kind of gruesome imagery, you want to paint entrails. Not a lot of skulls, but there are certainly a lot of entrails and all manner of filthy things. Yeah, you can choose that guard. So let's patch out more photos. There. So
Hey, it's
the
the Taliman.
yeah, the Taliman, of course, you have to show him. So lots of greens and browns. So greens, browns, flesh tones, and rust. No? You can play around with different metallic colors. Apply some rust effects because they're not just about spreading disease; they're also about corrosion, degradation. Yeah, let's patch out some more examples. So, so there you go. That this is my signature way of doing demon engines for the Death Guard. Rusty effects. Oh, here you go. See, there you go. So rust effects. You feel like you're about to get tetano if you touch my my demon engines.
Yeah, don't touch Mikey's models without like a full updated tetanus shot.
Yeah, because these are actual metallic paints, no? And if I remember correctly, metallic paints actually do contain some metallic composition. So please be careful with my stuff. Okay, and since it is in the time of pandemic, let us not touch each other's minis. Okay, ciao.
Yes.
And so, ayan, lots of very gnarly kit bashing opportunities for Death Guard as well. If you like to do some monster of the day or make your own monster kind of thing, these are Death Guard Possessed. So these are Plague Marines, like what you saw earlier, but they've heavily mutated themselves. And now they look more gross than ever. They're not as smart, but they're faster now and deadlier in melee. That's what they do in on the tabletop. And there's no real Death Guard Possessed models, but you'll see later that there's a model for Possessed in general. But if you want to really represent Death Guard Possessed, lots of opportunities to do that using different kits. No? So okay, so let's say hi first to the people who are watching right now. No, so there's Michael Lim and of course our number one fan, Eric, no, from the lighter side of things. No, we're in the very dark side.
Yeah.
We're in the very dark side of things right now. Okay, so thank you, Eric, for tuning in. Michael Lim, Juno Alcantara, whose works we will feature later.
Yes, we'll be showing you his models today.
Yeah. Too much plastic there. Yeah, for big army, definitely. No.
Yeah, we also have Mr. DJ over here. Well, we'll tackle Apocalypse in the big army showcase. So
Definitely.
Apocalypse is really its own thing, and like we'd focus more on it if GW ever updates it. So like, yeah,
Yeah, if you want Apocalypse,
maybe
yeah,
in 3 years.
we can do a separate feature about it, no? Maybe on
Yeah.
September.
No. It's Apocalypse is gonna be in the big army thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
would have been apt, no? So yeah, so here's a comment with Juno. Yeah, so this comment is apt for what we're talking about, the hobby side of things. No? Yeah, so the Death Guard spoke to Juno because of the deceased walking tanks. So there's a lot of story that you can involve in making making these things, no? So lots of ways to represent aspects of disease, death, no? Again, no, if you've watched the video by what call this Uncle Atom a few hours ago.
Araulo?
No, Uncle Atom from Tabletop Minions. Well, but that would be the day if Atom Araulo actually started painting. So maker paints tell a story, no? And yun nga, like what Michael Lim said, it's okay to be as messy as you want, and it's very very forgiving for beginners. So to those beginners who are watching right now, it's really fun to paint Death Guard. No? So let's patch out more models for you to look at.
Yeah. We'll also say hi to Dunhill, who noted our copy pasta wasn't blessed by the grandfather Nigel, and our dear friend Tits, who is watching from YouTube.
Hey, hi.
Okay,
Hello.
so
Okay, so we now talk about Death Guard and tabletop. So this piece that you're seeing right now, that's from Oxygen Heda, Mini Cocoa from Pilipintados. So here's the actual model. Look how beautiful it is. You know? So yeah, I paid a hefty sum for this, but it's super worth it. It matches the my style of painting Death Guard. Very grimy and but still contrasty. No? So what do you expect from Death Guard if you're playing them on the tabletop? Very durable troops. They will outlast your opponent more times than you can count. They can also weaken opponents. No? So not only are they strong in melee combat, they can make your opponent even weaker. No, in melee combat. And they have heavy support firepower, not so much on the actual infantry, but the stuff that the armored support that you can bring with you on the table, and that creates for a lot of intimidating board presence. So there you go. Pachow. Okay, so start collecting death card. Okay, so this is the most basic thing. This is the most basic thing that you can get with combat patrol with a combat patrol box. I think cash. This is 6,750. No, so
This is 6,375. Yes.
yeah, so it's very sulit.
6,375. Yeah.
Oh, 6,375, even better. No, so that gives you extra money to buy paints from us. No, and again, no, I think you only need for the most part greens, browns, and then red for the gory parts or the fleshy parts.
Yeah.
And
You can probably paint this army with one metallic paint and nothing but contrast.
yeah, there you go. So that's maybe 4 pots. No? So for your
Yeah.
7,000 pesos, you get your combat control box and maybe 3 to 4 pots of paint if you're absolutely just starting out. Okay, ciao. We're gonna get into more detail about the purchases at near the end. So please stick around until the end of this video because we're gonna have a buyer's guide for everybody that you can follow. It's not a strict rule. No, you don't have to do it this way, but we deem that this might be the most efficient, cost-efficient way and get the most bang, like literal bang for your buck. Okay, so I'm gonna take it away first with Deathguard and Skirmish Combat. This is exactly what you can expect from. Well, this is one kind of Deathguard Kill Team. So for the upcoming new edition of Kill Team, you now have fire teams, and we'll talk about that. But this is the most basic form. You can see here 8 Pox Walkers and 3 Plague Marines. Okay, so let's switch out to the Kill Team slides. Okay, so you have your options here. There are 2 kinds of fire teams in Kill Team. So you're no longer working with points. In second edition Kill Team, there you used to have a allowance of 100 points, and then you can pick and choose whatever models you want. And then there are limitations when it comes to certain types. So here you have 2 variants. You have the Plague Marines on the left and the Pox Walkers on the right. You can so your Kill Team can either be 2 fire teams of Plague Marines, so the big green guys, no? And then one of those is up to 3 models. Your second fire team would be 2 models. Sorry, both 3 models. I'm so sorry. Both fire teams can be 3 models each of Plague Marines for a total of 6. Or you can take 1 Plague Marine fire team of 3 members, and then a second fire team, which is composed of 8 Pox Walkers for a total of 11. Now, we're not going to go into the details of the pros and cons. The Pox Walkers, they're very slow, but they're very tough to kill, and very tough to kill. And they're a lot. And in Kill Team, and also in 40k, big 40k, it's a game about holding objectives. It's not just about killing your opponent. More often than not, it's about outlasting and outpointing your opponent as a result. No, but definitely there are benefits to killing your opponent's models, and that's where the Plague Marines come in. So you can take your Pox Walkers, and then you can get your Plague Marines. So 3 Plague Marines, 8 Pox Walkers, and the Combat Patrol. Let's go back, Kesh. Let's just show that. So there you go. That Combat Patrol box gives you everything you need to start a Kill Team. So again, this is a double purpose box, and I can't recommend it enough for anyone who's starting out. Okay, so pachow. Okay, so that's your Plague Marine fire team. That's a Pox Walker fire team. 2 fire teams. One last thing. You can only take the Pox Walker fire team once. Okay, so that's it. Now move on to Deathguard and Big Army. Cash.
Okay. Death Guard in big army plays a lot like you know how in armies you usually have a hammer and an anvil unit, where the anvil unit will be the ones holding the objectives, usually the center line, and then the hammer is gonna come in from either the side or the back or even like the rear of your own army and bombard them into infinity. The Death Guard focuses on being an extraordinarily painful anvil. Uh, so they're incredibly tough to shift from the objectives. They do have extremely powerful shooting coming from their vehicles. But there's a way to play them with only infantry, which is the Terminus S Strike Force, which is really the only reason to take Typhus if you're playing the Terminus S Strike Force in Big Army. And then we'll be going through the different army builds as we talk about the units, and we'll discuss an army that actually won a GP in Pennsylvania near the end, so that you can see what a competitive Death Guard list looks like.
Oh, we got.
Right.
Let's acknowledge the arrival of one of our favorite Death Guard players and a disciple of Nurgle, Dr. Go. Yes, thank you for joining us. And we have a comment from Dunhill. Yeah, the box is pretty okay, but it's a legal combat patrol list. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Thank you for pointing that out. Sige, okay,
Okay.
go ahead, Kesh.
All right. So in the 40k big army, basically we have points. Unlike Kill Team, which uses the fire team system, each model, each unit has a points value, and depending on the points value, it will determine the size of your game, the size of your battlefield, and the duration of your fights normally. So, Combat Patrol, which is a 500 point army, which is designed to work with the Combat Patrol boxes, is around 1 hour once you know what you're doing. And it's just a 44 by 30-inch battlefield, which is pretty small. It's smaller than 4 by 4 feet, so it's pretty good. It's pretty easy to get into, and tournaments are usually played at around 2,000 points, which is Strike Force. And I have actually never seen anyone play Onslaught except in like friendly games.
Isn't that close to
So
Apocalypse? So how many points is
um,
Apocalypse?
Apocalypse is weird because it's now its own system, and
Right.
it's pretty finicky and uses its own dice. It uses it's a different animal now altogether. I honestly do prefer old Apocalypse where it's just a scaled up big game. Though honestly, if people do agree, we might do two Apocalypse games in the future, with one being the old system, one being the new system. So
Cool. That's
all
cool.
right. So a force organization chart is how you build your army. In a patrol detachment, which is the smallest detachment that you can bring, you have to have at least one HQ unit and 1 to 3 troops. So in the combat patrol box of the Death Guard, that gives you 2 troops, which are the Plague Marines and the Pox Walkers, and it gives you one HQ, which is good old Typhus.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a pretty good combat patrol in a combat patrol box, which is what they're actually for, to get you started in a 500 point game immediately. Now there are other types of detachments. There are outrider detachments, there are spearhead detachments, battalion detachments, brigade detachments, but we won't be touching in on those. Those will be found in the Warhammer 40k core book over there, which Mikey is selling his copy of because he has two for some reason. Yeah,
Yes. I have two
yeah,
Indominus boxes.
yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Okay. So he also wants to trade that in for like an AOS rulebook. So like if you want to do
So
that, if Jonathan Longsang is like watching and wants to trade this AOS book that he's not gonna read anyway, like you can do that.
these are the two books you need to get started, by the way. So don't
Yeah.
just buy the Combat Patrol box. Get your core book and your Death Guard Codex. It's
Yes. The
absolutely
codex
necessary.
will include all of the rules that you need to play your death guard. And
Yeah.
the most important rule to note when you're picking your army is choose what army speaks best to you. If the arm don't just pick like, oh, this is a tier 1 army that wins all the tournaments. Uh because like you'll be you'll run out of steams sooner or later. I actually bought like a Tau army before trying to chase the meta, and I decided that it wasn't for me. Like the aesthetic wasn't for me. And then I never painted it. So
That's
choose
sad.
first which models like speak to you,
Yeah.
then find which playstyle speaks to you, and then only then should you be considering like what's good.
Yeah.
And here, Eric once caught John reading the AOS core book. So haha, he's been reading. So
Gotcha.
anyway, it's play what you want. Like we'll be giving you recommendations on units, what to buy, but if there's something here that you really love the model of, but like it's a garbage unit, play it anyway in a casual game. Like why not, right? Like we will
Yeah.
happily play against it. We will happily kill it. Like just show off your painted models, show off like what you like, show off your nice conversions. That's why we play. That's one of the reasons why we play this game, and it's a very important part of it. So, Death Guard troops. So, in this section, we will be discussing every single one of the units in the Death Guard Codex. We'll be skipping the Imperial Armor Compendium ones, since a lot of tournaments in the country will not let you use Forge World models anyway. We'll be
Mm.
tackling those for armies that do require certain Forge World units to be successful, which Death Guard is not one of. Death Guard works perfectly fine and perfectly competitively with just the stuff in the core codex. They're not
Yeah.
Adeptus Custodes where you need your army to be 80% Forge World to place.
Oh, but when we
So
talk about Custodes, there is also that one very successful non-forged world list. But I guess the
yeah,
lesson here is don't break the bank, guys. Don't break the bank for the hobby. Don't go in debt. Okay, don't go in debt for your hobby. Okay, you can have fun with what you have. Definitely.
yes. All right. So Teacher Mikey, these are the Death Guard troops, right? So they're basically your
Yes.
battle line troops. They're there to hold your objectives with objectives secured. They're cheap and they're plentiful in terms of the Pox Walkers. As mentioned before, they take objectives. Now you have two real options. There are the Plague Marines. They're slow, but they're tough. They're great attackers in melee with their decent
With the
attacks. They
knives,
have yes with their
the
knives and the
flails.
flail. The flail
I have a
is
flail.
required. Always bring the flail.
Yeah, I
So
haven't painted my flail yet.
yeah, paint your flail, yo. The
I
flail
need
is
to
great. So
paint the flail.
they also have a lot of shooting, but their shooting is strength 4, AP nothing, damage 1, which isn't really great in the current meta. So don't expect them to kill things via shooting. Expect them to ping like a model or two, but that's not what they're for. They're there to hold objectives and never ever die. The
Yep.
Pox workers are extremely slow, but they're cheap and they are surprisingly tough. They are really tough.
Super hard to kill.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually expected people to be running hordes of 30 of them, but no. People are running small squads of 10, like 3 squads of 10, and then scattering them all over the board because they're just so tough to kill that you don't really need that many of them in a single squad.
Yeah, they're just being
So,
annoying.
yeah, the Plague Marines. Now, as I make like the fancy icons for future faction focuses, we'll be rating them on when you should buy them and how many times you should buy them. Plague Marines you should buy immediately. Like this is one of your backbone units. If you got the combat patrol, you already have this. You don't need to buy it again. Why? Because in a list you can usually get by with just one Plague Marine squad
Oh,
and then
tama.
a ton of Pox Walkers. Teacher Mikey is one of the Plague Marine purists where he loves his Plague Marines and will not bring a list without them. But
I
there
have
are
a list
plenty
with
of
30.
competitive.
I have a list
Yes,
of 30 plague marines. I love
yeah.
it.
There are lists out there that don't bring Plague Marines at all. Um, we'll be discussing how you can do that in a bit, but you should buy this now, but you should only buy it once. If you already had it in the combat patrol, no need to get it again. Now the Pox Walkers are limited by a rule with what is it? Diseased minions, plague minions,
Yeah, something to
minions
that
of
effect.
China or something like that. So they have that rule where you can only bring one Pox Walker squad per Death Guard core unit that you bring, which is basically your Blightlord Terminators or your actual Death Guard or your Death Shroud, I believe. So
No, I don't
what
think with that
people
shot.
do are actually they bring Terminators to hold the line instead of the Death Guard, because the Terminators really outlast the Death Guard Plague Marines for holding basic objectives, because they're just so freaking hard to kill with a -1 damage from disgustingly resilient and their many wounds and their toughness 5. So Pox Walkers, you should buy lots. Um,
And buy that.
3 boxes of 10 should probably be safe. So once you
Start with the
have,
combat patrol. Start with
yeah,
the combat patrol. You get
start with
your
combat
basics.
patrol. So 3 of them, you're good. And you should buy it immediately because you also need it for kill team.
Definitely. Okay.
Yes. Now, Death Guard cultists. Next slide. Yeah, never take them. They're totally garbage. Yeah, so the Death Guard HQs are the leaders for your unit. They are force multipliers. They apply extra debuffs through the contagions. They're independent units, so they're just one of them. They're really expensive, but they're also very powerful, and they can be either kitted out in melee or in the glories of ranged,
So for
or in some
the
cases, psychic.
yeah, yeah, for the uninitiated, a force multiplier is basically something that gives a benefit to all of your models, making them exponentially better. No, I
Yeah.
mean, when you think of the +1 to something, it might not matter at first, but when you're talking about 10, 20 models at the time, that's a lot. That's why it's a multiplier.
Yes. So force multipliers are something that generally make your army better. They make your army work better even if the model itself is not that strong, but they make the rest of your army that much better. And yeah, painting that many Pox Walkers is a very good speed paint exercise. Though I'd argue Necron Warriors are a better speed paint exercise.
Slap that metal.
All right. So the first HU unit in the list is the Demon Prince of Nurgle. He is also a Psyker, and we talked about limitations to your troops before. We also have a limitation for the HQ slot. You can only have one Lord of the Death Guard, which is any of the things that have Lord in them, essentially, and you can only have one Demon Prince per detachment. So I recommend the Demon Prince because he can be kitted out with wings and he can be fast in a very slow army. He's also extremely tough. He's very killy. Always bring the sword, don't bring the axe, at least in this edition. And swords to me look cooler than axes. Um,
And look at him. Look at that model. Don't you want
yeah,
that?
yes. But note that you're not required to buy him now. You can get him as an upgrade. So you can buy it later, or you can buy it now if you want him to be like the general of your army. But he's not required. He's a nice to have. The Malignant Plague Caster. You should get one off, at least one off. You can get two maybe. He's your basic psyker, your sorcerer. He casts your really nice psychic powers, and in a Terminus S Strike Force, he gets an additional psychic power list to draw from. However, this guy is unfortunately web store exclusive. So if
Yeah.
you can, I recommend you convert him from a basic Death Guard Marine, because Death Guard are really good for conversions. You give him some sort of staff, and then you're probably kosher. You don't really need the psychic hood like in Marines. You can make him look whatever you want him to. Just make sure that he stands out as your Malignant Playcaster. Or you can get the web store exclusive one, but they come in like a set of 3 models. If you just want to play caster, it may not be where bang. It may not be bang for your buck. So
Yeah.
yes, Malignant Playcaster get one, but convert it. Now Typhus. Typhus is very conflicting because he's a really nice model. He's a guy who's been around since the days of 30K. You should definitely get one, and if you're getting the combat patrol, you are getting him. But he really only works well, like really well, in a Terminus S Strike Force, which gives up a lot of utility for Death Guard, because your vehicles, which are a source of a lot of your damage, are bye bye. So
Yeah, you
you'll
can't
need
even
to
use
go all
him.
out on like Death Shroud Terminators, on Pox Walkers, etc. You'll be an even more powerful anvil than you were before, but your hammer potency will drop considerably. So Terminus Est is definitely a way to go, but there's a huge caveat where you can't take your vehicles.
Yeah, for the narrative players, definitely get
Yeah,
him. Lots of story behind this guy. In fact, he's single-handedly responsible for what happened to the Death Guard. So if you
yeah.
want to
He fucked up the Death Guard. The Death Guard are plaguey because of this guy and his daddy issues. So yeah, fuck this guy. Also, this guy's also a psyker, by the way. So if you want like psychic powers in your army and you want the Lord of Contagion, you could possibly bring Typhus and get both in one slot. Right now, the Death Guard Chaos Lord. Nope, don't bring it. It's garbage. The Death Guard Chaos Lord in Terminator armor, also a big nope.
it's hard to get
Now,
this one.
yeah, yeah. Now, because both of those count as a Lord of the Death Guard, so you can't bring Typhus, you can bring a Lord of Virulence, you can't bring the Lord of Contagion, and these are the really good ones. The Lord of Virulence is the sort of shooty Lord, but still also as a power fist for like amazing melee. And he's definitely a buy later if you already have your combat patrol, but he's definitely something you buy one off because he is really, really good. A lot of competitive lists will either have him or the Lord of Contagion, and it's really up to you. There's a debate on to which is better, and I am seeing an equal number of tournament lists fielding him and placing. So
In
the
fact,
Lord of Contagion,
there are even ways to make them tougher with warrior
yeah,
traits,
yeah, definitely,
extra
yeah.
equipment that you can put on them, relics. So have
Now,
fun.
as for the Lord of Contagion, he is definitely a great unit and a buy now. But how? Because his model is no longer available. He was available in the old Dark Imperium set and in a lot of the starter sets, but that was previous edition, so we're waiting for him to come out in a separate box.
Yeah, that's
So that
unfortunate.
should come out sometime. But of course, you can also just convert one. You can, if you don't want to play Typhus, you convert your Typhus into one, or if you buy multiple combat patrols, which is a good deal, but you're getting an extra Typhus. So just convert him into a Lord of Contagion, like sculpt him an axe or something, or steal an axe from your local corn player and
Or
then
get the
rust it up.
yeah, and get the Plague Marine icon from one of the Plague Marine sprues. There you go,
Oh yeah, then you
and
can turn it
then
into
put
an
it on
axe.
top. Yeah,
Oh yeah, and then put it on top. Yeah, that's actually a pretty nice thing to do. So definitely get one, convert one if you can. Um, but you should only ever have one because you can't really bring multiples.
conversions are
Death
allowed, by the
Guard,
way, guys.
for hmm?
Conversions are allowed.
Yeah,
Conversions are allowed.
definitely. We'll talk about them later once we get to the competitive thing. But Death Guard, Sorcerer, and Terminator armor is also a big no. Um, just bring your Malignant Playcaster. Now,
Yeah,
the
it's so much
Death
better.
Guard Elites, these will be other force multipliers characters, defeated Virion. You will also have a lot of offensive ability here in the Elite slot. You will have the Blightlord Terminators here, and they're gonna be like the toughest thing that has ever been seen on the board. And the Fetid Virion, which are like they're characters, independent characters. They're like the HQs but cheaper. And let's start with the Taliman, the focus of our song today. So he's definitely a buy one and a buy now. He's required in every single competitive Death Guard list. So if you're thinking of starting Death Guard as soon as you get your combat patrol, or as soon as you order your combat patrol, you should also say, Kesh, order me a Taliman. And soon may the Taliman come.
And
And we will get your Taliman.
yeah, and
Yeah,
not just for
he
competitive
actually,
players.
yeah,
Not just for competitive players. If you want to be able to do more during a game because of the you get to do more tricks, the Taliman, gives you the
yeah.
resources to do that. So you can have
Yeah,
more
this
fun.
man actually regenerates your command points. So he lets you use your icky Death Guard stratagems even more. There are few models, few units in the game that have this much utility. So just the sheer amount of CP that you can get from this guy is insane. So you don't want to put him in combat. You don't want to make him shoot things. You want to keep him secret, keep him safe, like the One Ring, and have him keep generating you some command points.
It's fun to
Now
paint. It's super fun to
The
paint.
Fall Blight Spawn is the opposite. He's actually an offensive unit, not just offensive in the way he looks, but he's also incredibly offensive with his grenades. So he is very powerful in your front lines. You can put him with your Death Guard and like blast some things and debuff some things. You can put him with your Blightlord Terminators. It's really up to you, but he's definitely something that you should be getting.
And he looks cool.
Yeah, and he looks cool. Now, the Noxious Blightbringer is a Violator. He doesn't really give as many buffs as the Mr. Taliman, and he doesn't really do as much damage as Mr.
No,
Grenade Man. Yeah,
no,
Mr. Fall Blight
foul
Spawn.
light spawn.
Yeah. So for this guy, he's a Violator. None of the Death Guard elites characters are bad, but the two best ones are definitely the Blight Spawn and the Taliman. And if you have points left after for the rest, sure. It's a nice to have, but not a must have. Same with the Biologist Putrefier is definitely a buy one and buy later. And the Plague Surgeon, you might be surprised why the Plague Surgeon is a buy later, considering Space Marines are in their apothecaries. One is because he only gives a 6+ feel no pain save to the guys around him, which is okay since it makes your Death Guard live slightly longer, 1 in 6 chance to not die, or rather 1 in 6 chance to not take a wound. But he also, unlike his loyalist counterpart, does not bring models back to life. And
Yeah,
that's really what sets him apart from the Space Marine Apothecary, which is a must have in every single Space Marine list. So if you have points left over and you don't know what to put the Plague
yeah.
Surge. Like,
Go ahead.
yeah, make your Blight Lord Terminators or your Death Shroud or your Plague Marines last longer. Now, the Blight Lord Terminators you will buy now and you will buy lots. You will have a full freaking unit of these guys marching
Buy
up the
six
board.
boxes.
Or
Buy
yeah,
6 boxes of this.
or teleporting. Buy at least 2 boxes, like for a full squad. Or you
Yeah,
can buy 3 or 4. Like seriously, these guys are spammable. They're great. They're tough. Just remember that if you bring around more than 2 full units, you will lose friends. So, personal friendly recommendation: just bring 5 to 10 of them. Don't take super spam, but
yeah.
they are incredible. They have damage potential. They have shooting. They have melee. They don't die. These guys are some
Very
of the
hard to
best
kill.
Terminators in the game.
Very hard to kill.
I'd say the only Terminators that rival them are the
Death
Deathwing
shards.
Terminators. No, no, like
In other
as like
armies,
Terminators.
yeah,
Yeah, are
that are hard to
the
kill.
Deathwing Terminators from the Dark Angels.
Inner circle. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the Death Shroud Terminators are a
There you go.
DPS unit. Yes, you should definitely
Underrated.
buy now. You buy
Very
lots.
underrated.
Yes,
Very
they're as
underrated.
tough as the Blight Lords. They're not actually underrated. Like most tournament lists will bring at least 1 squad of Death Shroud. Some will bring 3 squads of 3 Death Shroud. You keep them in squads of 3. You scatter them around and things around, and they'll basically deny a portion of the board for you. They are quite expensive, both in money and in points, but they are extremely worth it. And look at
Super worth
them;
it.
they're super poggy. Yeah,
Yeah. Look at that. And they have flamers. They have
yeah,
flamers.
yeah. Those are like toxic flamers. And how flame can be toxic is beyond this chemistry major. But I'm just gonna put it up to warpy bullshit.
Basically, it gets you your points back. No, for
Yes,
what
definitely.
they definitely get your points back.
Yeah. Now the Hell Brute. The Hell Brute. It looks cool, but never buy it. It's a bad unit generally for this codex, and yeah, toxic internet flamers. Yes,
Yes.
yes, that's what they are. And it's a web store exclusive, so it's harder to get. You might find a box here and there in your local hobby shop, but why bother?
It'll take us 3 to 4 months to bring it in.
Yeah. Now the Deathguard Possessed. It can be either a buy never or a buy now. If if you're using it for the Terminus Est, which means that all your other fastings are going away, you definitely want these. They're gonna be the fastest unit in your army. They're gonna be extremely cool. They're gonna be tough. They're gonna be choppy, but they are outclassed by your fast attack options. Um, However, if you're playing a standard Death Guard army, you probably shouldn't bother unless you really like them. And if you do really like them, while we can get you the actual Death Guard possessed models, I suggest just converting the extra Plague Marines that you're not gonna use or just gonna use for bits to
Yeah.
like convert your Lord of Contagion from Typhus. Um, you can just convert those up and turn them into possessed with some other Nurgle boxes from maybe the Nurgle Demons line and make them more personalized.
Yeah.
So
Or if you have
that's my
Tyranid
yeah.
bits, you can use them.
Or if you have Tyranid bits, like you can probably ask your local players like, hey, who has bits I can put in these disgusting guys? And since putting them in your army is kind of subpar, they'll probably let you have the bits for free since it's helping them win.
Yeah. Don't break the bank for these guys, but they're
Yeah.
fun to use. They're definitely fun to use.
So the Death Guard fast attack are the fastest attackers in your army. That's thus the fast attack. So they have lots of mobility plus offense. They have hit and run tactics, but they are relatively frail compared to the rest of the codex. They're not frail compared to like other codexes, but they're frail compared to the rest of your codex. So our first one is that which must not be named. We cannot say the name of this unit live because we will turn into one. But you should definitely buy one or two or three of these units, and then what they do is they're a nuisance. They Either your opponent doesn't know what they do and they'll think, "Oh no, that's horrifying and scary," and they'll target them, and then they've done their job, or your opponent will ignore them and then they'll go into like a backline shooting unit, and then they've done their job. They're there to be an all-around nuisance. You don't expect them to win the game for you, but they're a nice to have. So it's a buy later kind of purchase.
And kind of
The
expensive.
Myphitic Blight Hauler is it's a buy lots. You'll be bringing like three of these,
Yeah.
if you are bringing them, and they are extremely cute. They are very good anti-tank firepower. They also have some melee, right?
Yes, they do have
Yeah,
melee and very good at it.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, look at the
But
backstab.
they're generally outclassed by the fetid bloat drones. But the main reason to buy these guys are because they are absolutely freaking adorable. Look at them; they're so cute. They're
And they're fun to
cute. I
paint.
wanna
They're super
pinch.
fun to paint. It's like a mini
Yeah,
dinosaur. It's like a Pokemon.
yeah. It's like a Pokemon. It's so cute. It's like a
Yes, it's a
Paras.
Pokeball.
Yeah. Please don't throw your model. Like even drop pods don't actually drop your drop pods. They will break. All right. So now this is the fetid blow drone. You will buy lots of these. You will equip them for melee. You will not equip them for shooting. You will buy them now. You will spam them, and you will win games. These guys are like the premier fast attack um, choice for the Death Guard, present in almost every list,
And
and
has the
they are
coolest
extremely
name. Has the coolest name for a melee weapon. It's called the flesh.
really.
It's called the flesh mower.
Yeah, right. The flesh mower. It's basically a lawnmower but for flesh. Slanesh also has one, so I don't know who stole it from who. Probably Slanesh stole it from like Nurgle because like Nurgle came first. But let's
It's the
keep
coolest name
going.
ever.
Yeah. Now the heavy support. There's really only one heavy support worthy of the name, which is that. So
I
they're
have
very
three of
expensive in
these.
terms of points. They're very durable and they have really good mobility. So this is really the only thing worth buying in this entire slot. This is the Plague Burst Crawler. You'll buy one, two, or three, and you will buy it now, and you will not regret it. Except if you're bringing the Terminus S Strike Force. In the previous edition, well in this edition the noxious the entropic cannons are the way to go,
Yeah,
while the in the previous edition it was more of the
overheads.
anti infantry gun. So I'd suggest you magnetize or not glue those in case like edition changes happen and you may want to change the weapon. But right now it's the entropic thingamajiggy. So They are really good anti-tank. They are really good damage. And they can also fire without line of sight, which is very important to keeping them safe. They're just really great value overall. Like competitive Death Guard players will have three, regardless of will have three in their collection, regardless of whether or not they're using them. They're also pretty cool.
Very
They
fun to play.
actually based 30k unit off this and said that Mortarion converted this out of that, but it's actually the other way around. Now the rest of this sad slot, the Chaos Land Raider and the Predator variants, just nope. They don't get any benefits from being in Death Guard, unlike Thousand Suns. They don't really fit the aesthetic that well, and you don't really need transportation for your Terminators. You teleport them in, and as for the Predator, they're just really outclassed by this thing. This thing, God, you will buy three of this. Yes. Oh, the Defiler. It's a buy maybe. It's cute. It's
I like this.
adorable.
I like
Yeah,
how it looks.
it's the crab. Like I actually endorse the crab not because it's incredibly good. It's not bad. It's not like these guys. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good. It's just outclassed by this, but it's not bad. But it looks cool. I actually recommend getting it because it's a crab, and
And
everything must
convert it.
eventually return to crab.
Yeah.
So
Add some
if you
nerf
want to
to
go in
this
for
one.
the memes, get the defiler. So it's a definitely buy later sort of thing. You bring it for the fluff and not really for the competitiveness. Now, the Death Guard dedicated transport is the Rhino. It's really cool if you love Plague Marines. It gets over the slowness of the Plague Marines, but it's not really required. The Rhino is just a sad box in this edition.
It's not even
Transports
needed in
aren't
in Terminus S cache because
Yeah,
everything
it's not
can
even
teleport
legal
in.
in Terminus Est when you want to be spamming your
Yeah,
Plague Marines.
they
And
can teleport in.
mhm. And this thing, ter- uh, bleh, bleh, bleh. Transports aren't really very good in this edition for any army, with the possible exception of Grey Knights. So I am sorry, Metal Box. Our enemies will not be hiding in metal boxes this edition. So the Death Guard Lord of War. There's only
Here we
one
go.
Lord of War.
Here we go.
He's an immediate threat. He's the biggest model in your army, and probably the reason you went into Death Guard. And that is Morty, the grandson of Rick himself. Anyway, so Mortarion is the Primarch of this legion, and the second Primarch to come out in plastic.
Very
So
glorious.
yes, we actually had plastic Primarchs before plastic sisters. Hello to Hesed. And he's in around 50% of all competitive Death Guard lists. Either your list revolves around Mortarion or it doesn't. And he's also present in Chaos Soups, where you bring Magnus, you bring Mortarion, they brew it up with like a Lord of Change and like just like spam big things, and your opponent's like, what the fuck do I do? So Mortarion, like what does he do? We have to spend an entire video talking about what he does. So just trust me when I say you want one, he will not die. He will buff himself to the stratosphere. He will murder things. He's
It's
actually better than Magnus.
fun to
But
play with him.
the advantage with Magnus is Magnus did nothing wrong, while Mortarion is a filthy hypocrite, which led to the Council of Nicaea and Magnus getting hereticked. So this guy is good, but fuck this guy. He's a and now he's a psyker despite hating psychers. So yeah, this guy's a filthy, filthy, filthy hypocrite. Focus on the filthy, as you can see from all his disgusting accoutrements. And you should definitely get him as like the last step of your Death Guard purchases. Especially since you want to paint this guy when you've had a lot of practice painting, because you don't want to mess this guy up. I mean, look at him. He's I'm sorry, I can't call him pretty. He's disgusting. But I guess that's what you like being in Death Guard. You dirty, dirty men.
But I can say that it's worth
Okay.
spending to have him commissioned. If you're really not confident, it's super worth spending on a commission for this guy.
Yeah. Now the last is the Death Guard Fortification, which is the Miasmic Malignant Fire. Hard pass. Don't get it. If you want to buy it just for rule of cool, don't even pay the points. Just use it as like terrain. As of now, none of the faction specific terrain are good because unlike Age of Sigmar, you have to pay points for these things, and they're generally not worth it. In a game that focuses on mobility, they're very meh. And they're also vehicles. They would have been good in a Terminus S, but you can't bring them in a Terminus S. So like
Sobrang sayang.
they have absolutely zero value aside from being a nice thing that you put on the board. But if you do, don't pay points for it. Just have it be cover. Honestly, all right. But obviously, it's the rule of cool. You play what you want. If you don't want to play Mortarion because you think he did Magnus wrong, don't play Mortarion. If you want to play your Plague Marines, like if you want to play 30 Plague Marines, like Teacher Mikey, do it. Like there's absolutely nothing stopping you from doing that. It's really play what you want. Um, so Buyer's Guide to Deathguard. This is
Yan, here we go.
the recommendations for Kill Team. So you can either start with a Combat Patrol, which will cost you 6375, and for 6375 you that's it. You're done buying stuff for Kill Team.
Yeah.
Or you can buy the Plague Marines and the Pox Walkers separately for 2250 and 15 separately, which would be a cheaper way to start this if you don't really want Typhus. So if you're just getting into Kill Team, you may want to just get the Plague Marines and the Pox Walkers separately, which will run you around 3750, the price of an old start collecting, but you don't get as many models or as much savings.
Yeah.
So there's your trade-off. If you want to go into big army eventually, you get the Combat Patrol. If you want to stop at Kill Team, you you stay here. Michael, what if you have Dark Imperium? Um, do you? I'm not sure how many Poxwalkers that comes with. So if you do have Dark Imperium
Comes to
and you want
20. 20.
20, and
Yeah.
how many Plague Marines are there?
10.
10.
I'm pretty sure it comes
So
with 10.
I think it's just the loadout that's problematic for
Oh, and
the
you get
Plague
the
Marines,
Lord of Contagion.
and you
You
get the
get the
Lord
Lord of
Contagion.
Contagion.
Michael, if you already have the Dark Imperium, you don't need to buy anything else for Kill Team,
Yeah.
but you will need to buy more stuff to expand to
Mm.
40k.
For
Now for
Kill Team,
40k,
you're good.
yeah, I made this very, very nice collage of things that you should be buying. You should be getting the Combat Patrol. You should be slaughtering your Typhus, turning it into a Lord of Contagion if you want one. Otherwise, you get the Lord of Virulence or a Demon Prince. Then you get more Poxwalkers. Then you get a ton of Death Shroud and Light Lord Terminators. You will also be getting these two boys, Mr. Taliman here and Mr.
Biologus.
Mr. Grenade Man.
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah, I just call him Mr. Grenade Man. He like I cannot be bothered to memorize all the
I should
disgusting names.
remember his name. I have the. But yeah, get
Yeah.
that. You have to get that.
The Malignant Playcaster is good if you want to play a battalion
Foul
detachment
Blight
because
Spawn. Foul Blight
you
Spawn.
need
That's
two HQs and you can only have one Lord of the Death Guard. So either Lord of Contagion, Lord of Virulence, or Typhus. We're not even considering the other options. Or you can have a Demon Prince instead of your Malignant Playcaster. But the Playcaster is cheaper, so you know. And then if you're not playing Terminus S, you will want three Fetid Bloat Drones and three Plague Scrollers. Like, and then you eventually get this big guy hiding in the corner, Mr. Morty himself. Now, I'll be reading out to you guys like a competitive list that actually won GT in Pennsylvania, the War on the Shore GT by Michael Fox playing Death Guard. So he was using the Plague Company Mortarion's Anvil, and with Demon Primarch Mortarion, then a battalion detachment, and then he was bringing a Lord of Virulence for his HQ. He brought a full squad of Plague Marines, two squads of 10 Pox Walkers to hold objectives. This is one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Eight Blight Lord Terminators. with a Plague Skull of Gothilla, um, the Bubotic Axe. And then he brought one squad of Death Shroud Terminators, the Foul Blight Spawn, the Taliman, and two Plague Burst Crawlers. So with that, you
What? Just
he actually won a tournament with that, and it's just pure Death Guard. And it's a very unusual list. I can't really show it to you because I tried copy pasting it in here from BCP, and it kept shrinking to the point that it's no one could read it, not even me. Like, you don't need Eric's bad eyes to not be able to read it. So I'll be looking for ways to feature lists better in the future. But this list is very surprising in that it actually contains Plague Marines. The meta in previous months actually did away with them completely, focusing on the Blight Lords and the Death Shroud. But Teacher Mikey was very pleased to see that the most recent GT win for Death Guard actually included Plague Marines. So Plague Marines are not dead.
yeah, definitely.
So
By
yeah,
the way, when the buyer's guide that we have here, more than the competitive aspect of it, there's also the thing where you want to be able to play with units that are easy to understand and are therefore easy to play with. Will give you a better time. I mean, again, rule of cool. If there's something that you like, play with it. But the other reason that we are suggesting these specific products, specific models, not just because they're strong, not just because it'll win you tournaments. You might not even be a tournament player, but if you're especially a beginner player, these are easy to understand. They attack, they kill, they live, they stay, and they gain you points. That's the long and short of these
yeah.
things
With
that
the
we've
possible
decided on.
exception of the Taliman, who is very much a technical unit.
It is a very technical unit.
Yeah, it's a very technical unit. So if you're not very confident in your technical skills, doesn't matter. Buy the Taliman anyway. You don't need to
Yeah,
understand him. He's just gonna generate command points for you.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, these are the most competitive models in Death Guard at the moment, and I generally size them in like the general how much you want them. So of course you want Mortarion the most because he's Mortarion, really. Like,
Yeah.
who doesn't want
Let's address
Mortarion?
ano. Let's address Michael Lim's question. We can take
Bella
Bellacore if
Core.
we
Okay.
want to kick the contagion aura. We lose it if we
Hmm.
take Bellacore, and which is a waste. But he's strong, but maybe this is not the army for him.
Yeah, I'd actually recommend buying a Bella Core if you play Slanesh in AOS because it's really the only way Slanesh will win games in AOS. I'm sorry, Titus, but that's how it goes right now. But Bellacore is a pretty cool purchase. He's a very cool model. If you do want to include him in your army, there's absolutely nothing stopping you. But I'm not sure, Mikey. Does he break your Death Guard allegiance to lose the contagion thingy?
It will if it's included in your list, but this is a little technical. You don't need to do this. You don't need to understand this right away. But you can summon demons. Wow, what are we teaching the people who are watching? You can summon demons in a Death Guard army. It's just not written, but it's in an FAQ. If you summon something from reinforcements, it will not break your contagion. But I'm pretty sure you cannot summon Bellacore. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure
If
you can do that.
anything, you wanna summon like plague bearers or the giant
That character.
fly testicle things.
Well, there is that Psyker from Nurgle that you can summon. Yeah, there are characters you can summon. Some you can't. We're not quite
Yeah,
sure, but that's
we're
very
not
advanced.
really
Yeah,
yeah,
that's already
we're
very
not really
advanced.
gonna be tackling allies in this series unless they're absolutely required for the army to work.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, since it's a faction focus, we're not gonna faction focus Harlequins or we're not gonna faction focus Eldari and then show you Harlequin models. We're gonna mention it if like it requires certain allies to work, but for that guard, absolutely not. Like uh, as we can see, they win tournaments even just from the stuff in their codex, and they win tournaments consistently. They were the big bogeymen of the start of the edition, and they're still strong up to now, which
Yeah,
really
very
shows
formidable.
how solid Deathguard is as an army. So, for the last spot of our presentation, we will be showing you
Yay!
a feature of
Showcase.
painted models that our friends have sent to us. So, first off is Dr. Go's Deathguard. So here are his Pox Walkers. That Dr. Go has this very nice way of painting where he basically just washes and dry brushes everything, and it looks absolutely phenomenal.
It pops up on the
Dr.
table.
Go, as the name may suggest, is a doctor. So he actually loves painting entrails and pus and bubbles because he's a very disgusting man. So, and he will agree with me if you ask him in person. Yes, he is an amazingly cool doctor, and he's an eye doctor. So if you have a problem with your eyes, like definitely look him up.
Yeah, he's my mom's eye doctor as well. We just saw him a month ago.
Yeah, he figured out like a problem with my eyes before where we thought I might be going blind. It turns out just an eyelash just inverted. And then he fixed it in like 30 seconds.
Oh look, Hellbrutes.
Yeah, Hellbrutes. So
Hellbrutes.
Dr. Go is a casual player
Hellbrutes.
and he's never limited by meta. So you see like Hellbrutes over here and they are painted very nicely. He, yeah, as I mentioned before, he mostly uses like technical paints, washes, contrast, and you can see the results speak for themselves. Like this is his Mortarion. He painted it himself.
Very
He
beautiful.
didn't cop up. He didn't cop out like Mikey and like get it commissioned. Nothing wrong with getting your models commissioned. By the way, it's depends on how you wanna enjoy the hobby. I'm just shaming Mikey because I know he likes to paint.
I do love to paint. I'm just scared of touching the really expensive models.
Come on, man.
Not
I
yet.
painted my 30k Magnus. Buy another Mortarion. Paint him. I'll order one for you next Wednesday.
I'm poor. I'm poor.
Yeah, so if you want Mikey to be able to afford more models, please like and subscribe.
Yes.
Get us up to 1,000 subs on YouTube so we can actually start getting
Help me
paid.
afford the hobby. Watch our
Yeah,
videos.
same,
Keep,
same.
keep Dragonforge alive and my hobbying alive.
Yeah. Dr. Go, a comment from Michael Lim. Needs more dark wash. Dr. Go actually likes his stuff bright. So it's very unusual from the usual grimy Nurgle
Yeah,
aesthetic. And I decided to put
look
this
at that.
Nurgling in as a separate slide because like
Super cute.
Nurglings deserve their own slides. Come on. Nurglings. Most
Super
adorable
cute.
thing in the game.
They are. They are.
Here is fetid bloat drones kitted out for shooting, which is not the ideal for this meta, but I don't know how good they are as shooting units.
Oh, these are the flamers, not the blight launcher. Well, it's okay because it can still do melee attacks
Okay.
with its strong and then just
It does
HP
the.
rolls. Yeah, but it's
Okay,
cool.
okay.
It's cool. It's still fast.
So here's his Blightlord Terminators with the old Typhus Finecast models. And yes, definitely
Oh,
Nurglings. Yeah.
I just noticed that.
Um
That's the old Typhus
yeah,
model.
this is old Typhus.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Alright, so this is the Malignant Playcaster and his Plague Marines and his fetid Virion characters. So you can see Mr. Bellboy over there in the back. The Plague Marine with the icon is here. And the Malignant Playcaster is here. And there's a flail over there. Mikey, paint your flail.
Yes, I will paint my flail.
Yeah. And then the Death Guard by Juno, who's watching today. Hello, Juno. So this is the complete opposite of Dr. Go. These are dark and grimy. Michael Lim,
Very,
eat your
super
heart
blanchy
out.
too.
This is the dark wash.
Ay, sorry, wrong comment.
So yeah. So look at them. They are very much a Blanchitsu style of painting. They're very grim dark. Like the face on this guy is like, holy shit, that creeps me out. I'm gonna go to the next slide before
Look
I
at
know
that
it's
one.
too bright.
That is
Yeah,
even creepier. Look
yeah.
at
I mean that's a barrel, guys. That's really cool. A lot
look
of
at that
these things are
mouth.
converted,
Yeah.
which which shows you the creativity you can have with this line.
Yeah, Juno's really great
Uh,
at converting stuff. I love it.
yes, right.
See, even
Okay,
even
skipping that
Doctor
guy.
Go, even Doctor Go finds it cool.
Oh, wait, Doctor Go. All right. So, Calendar Chan will be discussing our calendar for the rest of the month. So
Yes,
we're
even
gonna
it's
be
a good
having our
barrel, man.
faction. So
It's a
we
good
did have
barrel.
our faction focused Death Guard today. We have our anniversary special tomorrow. So where it's just gonna be me and the other Forge owners reminiscing about the ancient days. Though Gigi has to go early because he's an old man and needs his old man sleep. Um, we're gonna have pre-orders again on Monday, and it's the actual anniversary. And then we're gonna have the Crusades and Path to Glory explosive special on the 11th of September. Nothing else significant about that day. Um, then we're gonna have our faction focus Lumineth on the 17th with our friend Eric. He has agreed to he has definitely agreed to join us. And stop it, Eric. The face is not looking at me anymore. So
No, he's
then
talking
we're
about
gonna have
the
the
ano, the
I
creepy
know,
barrel
I
dude.
know. We're not talking about
It's
it.
haunting
We're
him.
not talking about it. Yeah. So the D&D starting out special, uh, where some DMs talk to you about starting D&D, and then our faction focus Adeptus Mechanicus. We're still gonna get our guests for this
Surprise
one.
guest, a surprise
Yeah.
guest.
Surprise guests. Surprise because even we don't know who they are yet. And then the
They
big
don't know
army
that, Kesh.
primer where we discuss the different big army games that are like Warhammer 40K, Sigmar, Star Wars Legion.
Yeah, it is an
So
online class of sorts. It's like an online class. We put it to the paces of starting big armies. Whew,
yes.
that'll be exciting. That's gonna
Yeah.
be a big episode.
All right. So we're gonna field some questions. Gonna look at the comments, see if there are any questions we haven't addressed yet. Like DJ Apocalypse will be featured in the big army primer. Michael, which has better kit bashing potential, Orcs or Death Guard? I would say Orcs because there's a lot more parts that are compatible with Orcs, while with Death Guard you need some of the more organic ones. So for Death Guard, you're really limited to like demons, you're limited to Tyranids, to other Nurgle Death Guard stuff, or other Chaos stuff, while Orcs gives you the entirety of the Imperial line. You can have I've seen one where they turned a Necron Cosant into a Defcopta. I've seen one where they've turned a Tyran. They actually put like control nodes on the back of the head of a Carnifex. So it's definitely Orcs for kit bashing potential. Definitely Orcs. Uh
Oh, here's a listing question
oh,
for how
okay.
many blight rolls?
3.
Pick three. They're
3.
that good.
3. If you're
They're that
bringing
good.
blight drones, you bring 3 straight up. If you're there are lists which don't bring break drones, so it can be 0 or 3. 0
And
or 3.
make sure they are all the lawn flesh mowers.
Yes,
No,
they're all flesh mowers, definitely.
make them all flesh mowers. If you want, you can't
Yeah.
go wrong naman with the blight launcher, I
Yeah,
guess.
but if you do build it, remember we told you what the meta is, so you can't go like, oh, Cash told me not to put the flash mowers. So if you lose because you didn't put the flash mowers on, it's Mikey's fault, huh? Not Cash. So I hope you like our faction focus for Death Guard and our buyer's guide, or as I like to call it, how to give cash money for dummies. So
And Mikey too.
uh, yes, eventually, Mikey, when we get to 100 subscribers, so please like and subscribe. Get your parents to like and subscribe. Get your siblings into 40K. Like, get everyone to like and subscribe,
Get your
guys.
significant others to
Yes,
watch.
definitely, and get your significant others like their own army, so that you can play.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're gonna finish off with like one more. One more song, as we promised, we'd do it at the end as well.
Oh no, we showed them the face again.
Nope, I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking. Okay. So,
There you
shall I
go.
take it, Teacher Mikey?
Go.
All right. So, I'm just gonna sing the song one more time, and then we're gonna sign off. So there once was a ship that went to space. The name of the ship was the Terminus S. The warp blew up her bow, dip down, oh blow, my plaguey boys blow. Soon may the Taliman
Taliman
come
come to
to
bring us
bring us dengue
dengue
and flu
and
and
flu
pox.
and pox.
One day when the COVID is
The COVID
done,
is done, we'll
we'll take our
take
figs and
our
play.
figs and play. Soon
Okay,
may the time. Trails up.
yes. So, if you guys want a copy of this song, just rewatch the video and give it more views. Shut up, Eric.
We will
The face is
post that.
not looking.
We will post that on the Dragon Forge page. How about that? Let's
No,
post that. Come on.
no.
Let's scare people.
Koto arimasu. All right. So I guess that's all we have for tonight for you guys. Our next faction focus will be Lumineth. So if you have any Lumineth models, please do send them to us, and we'll feature them the way we feature Dr. Go and Juno's models. So good night, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow for our anniversary special. And may the face haunt you in your dreams.
Yes.
Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Those pictures. Juno, Dr. Go, thank you.
Ciao.
Good